I understand
But
that.
do what you want to do. Like, it's a free country.
This
And
is
it should be a free country. Not just it is a free country.
Yeah.
It should be a free country. It should not be my job to police your personal behavior.
right.
Right? Like, doesn't mean I have to approve it on a personal level.
Right.
But I'm a jerk if I want to impose my belief system on your personal behavior that affects no one else. I mean, that's the definition of being an ass.
And because you are a reasonable person and you're very polite and you're even friends with Dave Rubin. So there you go. There's got to be
A few hours ago, a buddy of mine texted me that Ben Shapiro was on the Rogan show live, and I just finished watching it. Epic. Highly suggest that you watch the whole thing after you watch this video. I'll put a link in the description below. But at the end of this video, I'm going to make it nice and short. It's like a 3-hour interview, but I'm going to focus on 2 things. You're going to understand these 2 things by the end of the video. Number 1, I'm going to explain a technique, a social technique that Rogan uses, and then you're going to be able to use as well once you understand it, that lets you level the playing field when you're dealing with people who are really hard to beat in verbal combat, like Shapiro. He's been debating for years. Super smart guy. I think he's an attorney. Really hard. I mean, he's basically famous for being impenetrable in debate. So Rogan knew that going in, and I'm going to show you the technique that he used to level the playing field. And number 2, Shapiro. This guy, as I just said, is one of the best debaters out there right now. He has incredible control over his communication. But I'm going to show you, he lets a tell leak. And a tell is just basically a sign that he's not telling the truth or he's not confident. And about less than 1% of the time, he'll say something that he's not confident in. And it's very clear and obvious that I'm going to point out the things that he does to tell that he's not telling the truth. It's just really interesting to point out. Now, why are we doing this? I want to explain this to you so you can feel socially confident yourself, and understanding these behind the scenes forces of social interaction is a great way to do it. And that's what you can expect to learn here at this channel. So I want you to watch this clip of Rogan and see if you yourself can pick out the technique that Rogan is doing to help control the frame and control the conversation and level the playing field.
On marijuana are not addicted to marijuana.
I think
in the same way, alcohol, I mean, it's true of alcohol as well.
there's people that are going to be addicted to almost anything. And I think there's absolutely people that are addicted to sugar. There's for sure people that are addicted to nicotine and alcohol and all these things that we let people have.
The material addictiveness of marijuana
Yeah.
is not comparable to opioids, though, for example.
It's not even comparable to alcohol or nicotine. It seems to be very rare when people become physically addicted to it. Extremely rare. And what's common though is abuse. And it's common in everything that human beings consume. Abuse is common, as we said, with food. It's certainly common with alcohol. It's certainly common with pills.
But this is why...
Okay, what did you notice in the clip? Did you pick anything out of Rogan's behavior communication? What does he know about Shapiro? Well, first of all, he really likes and respects the guy. He sees things differently from him, but he often comments about how much respect and how reasoned his opinions are. So he's got that going for him. He knows he's a pro-level debater and orator, and he also knows that a lot of times he comes in talking like an auctioneer who's dipping espresso beans. I mean, this guy talks so fast, and his intensity is so high that it just completely shuts people down. Like people with ideas that have things to say to respond to him, they just get overwhelmed by the intensity. So he knows this, so what does he do? Joe Rogan talks so slow, a lot of ums and ahs. He's very, very calm, and he pauses a lot. So he's got a slow tempo, a slow, low tone of voice, and a calm delivery. And what this does is it makes Shapiro seem out of place if he tries to get worked up like that. Because if I'm talking to you nice and calm, how was your day, partner? And you come back and say, oh, it was fantastic. I was driving down the interstate. It sounds weird. And people watching that or the person you're talking to feels that's weird. You're kind of forced socially to at least come close to where the other person is at with their communication. So Rogan's usually a pretty chill, calm guy, but he slows it down even more in this interview to bring that dynamic into play, to kind of keep the reins on Shapiro to prevent him from just completely getting off the track and going 100 miles an hour. Now, another thing I'll point out that you might not know is typically Rogan converses with these guys sometime for an hour before they start recording. And by doing that, I think the biggest reason is just to make people calm. So when he goes, we're rolling, they'll get all fidgety and super weird and awkward and nervous. But in this instance, it's likely that he established that frame beforehand, because right when they start, you can see that Shapiro doesn't have his typical super high laser-eyed intensity. Okay, Inspector, let's see if you can spot the tell before I break it down to you. I'm going to show you this clip of Shapiro and see if you notice anything different from his usual communication that might be telling that he's not confident in what he's saying.
No,
You don't have any miracles?
no,
in here?
not by Jesus. Right?
No?
They're ones
But
in the Old
God
Testament.
ones?
Yeah, you've got Moses splitting the sea and all that.
What do you think happened there?
What do I think happened there?
Yeah.
Well, I'll go with the Maimonidean explanation that there was, it says in the Bible there was a strong east wind. So there's a naturalistic explanation for a physical phenomenon.
That makes sense.
I mean, that's
So-
what Maimonides is constantly trying to do, is read nature back into the Bible.
Yeah.
There were 3 things. Did you notice any of them? All right. If you want to have a little fun, put in the comments below. Put what you see before I go through them. I'd be interested to hear what you guys think the tells are. You could pause this and put that in right now and pop back on if you want. So the first thing he did, and he never does this because his brain works so fast, he acted like he didn't hear what he said.
What do you think happened there?
What do I think happened there?
Yeah.
He repeated what Rogan said. And the reason he did that, do you think he didn't hear him? He's wearing $5,000 headphones at the absolute perfect audio level. Of course he heard what he's saying. What was he doing? Buying himself some time. That's a tough question. You know, he prides himself as a very logical person. And Rogan asked him, well, what happened when the seas parted? If there's a logical explanation, it wasn't a miracle. So he buys himself some time by repeating the question. That's actually a strategy that people will teach in debate. If you need more time to think something through, by repeating the question typically very slowly, it buys you a lot of time. Then the second thing is his answer. So his answer is, I don't know, maybe the seas parted from a strong east wind. The Bible said there was a strong east wind. But what did he do when he was saying that?
What do I think happened there?
Yeah.
Well, I'll go with the Maimonidean explanation that there was, it says in the Bible there was a strong east wind.
He's shaking his head. It's inconsistent. It's incongruent. His body is telling him, no, I'm not confident in what I'm saying. That's actually a sign that they use like an FBI when they're breaking things down. Incongruent, when things don't match up. When you're saying, yes, I loved it, and you're shaking your head. Oh, there was a strong east wind, you're shaking your head. It's an internal tell that you're not confident. And then the last thing he did is he immediately transitioned to something else. So as opposed to just answering it, oh, the Bible said there was a strong east wind that might have parted the ocean. Instead of doing that, he goes straight into something else.
There was, it says in the Bible there was a strong east wind. So there's a naturalistic explanation for a physical phenomenon.
That makes sense.
I mean, that's what Maimonides is constantly trying to do, is read nature back into the Bible.
So he says, there's a strong east wind. It's a naturalistic expression for a physical phenomena. And then Rogan is just kind of like, whatever. Actually, I'll touch on this for a minute. What Rogan does right there is really, it's a very professional thing to do. So as he's going through that, clearly Rogan doesn't believe that a strong east wind parted the ocean. And so he's just going, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And to get off of that topic, Shapiro immediately goes into more about naturalistic explanations and things like that, rather than going back to the question. So it's just typically like, if you ask me something that I didn't want to answer, it's very common for me to answer it really quick. Oh yeah, that was a kind of a slow 100 time I put in there. Say, what about that weather out there? Like, that's a very ridiculous example, but people tend to try to bring up other threads of conversation to get off one that they don't want. And that's what he was doing in that third thing. Now, what if Rogan wasn't such a nice guy? And he said, oh, yeah, it was a strong east wind that might have parted the sea. And Rogan was like, yeah, whatever, man, you're a dummy. Or something like that. You know, something that happens, more people are like that than Rogan. Most people don't have that really nice sophistication, social skill. But, you know, that happens. Even at the workplace, people get made fun of. Oh, look at this guy. He's dressed like a dummy. And a lot of people, I think Ben Shapiro would probably have something pretty sharp to come back with, but a lot of people don't. And a lot of times people feel unconfident going in situations where people may make fun of them. You know, maybe there's somebody at the office who's known to poke fun at people, and they're not completely confident about that. If you want to take the quiz, I actually just set up a quiz where I go through, I'm going to make fun of you through the screen, and we'll see if you can come up with a good defense, and you'll get a rating at the end to see how you do. So if you're interested in that, I'll put a link in the description below as well. You can go to trashtalkquiz.com, or you can touch this little I circle in the upper right-hand corner. YouTube calls it a card, and it'll take you right there. If you haven't seen this video of your boy Ben Shapiro going up against Bill Maher, now they really go at it. It's a little bit of a different dynamic than the kind man Joe Rogan. If you want to see that, you can click right here, and I'll talk to you in that video now.